This is Marc Kramer, host of Asian Founders and Funders, and I'm a senior lecturer of entrepreneurship at VinUniversity. Today, our guest is best-selling author Quinn S. Quinn, welcome.
Hello.
So the reason I'm interviewing Quinn this morning is because I've written 6 books myself, and my business books are all business books, but her books are books of fiction, and being a writer and coming up with new ideas is very much like being an entrepreneur. Every book is like a new venture. Every book requires the author to create a plan on who their target market is and for them to be able to put together a book that's going to make their customer feel that it was worth their time to read it. So I wanted to ask Quinn today questions about what's it like to be a best-selling author and what's the whole process that she goes through. So let's start off with Quinn giving us some of your professional background. How did you get to this point of being a professional writer?
Well, thank you, Mark, for the very warm introduction. First of all, I started my career for about almost 15 years ago as a blogger. And then the newspaper and the magazines discovered me through the internet. And then they make a connection, they make some call. They were like, would you like to be a columnist? To get your stuff on the paper is always very different from just online digital market. I was like, for sure. And then for about a couple of years when I started writing columns and just printing papers, and then they were like, it's time to move up. It's time to start making books, to have your name on the shelves, and then to make a series and everything. So I guess what I'm trying to say is having a gift in writing or like having a creative mind is very important. But in any field, especially in writing and creativity, you still need mentors, you need community, and you need the right people to guide you, to work with you, and to provide opportunities, to insight and everything. So I wouldn't say that my journey of being a writer who have a lot of books and it sells well wasn't a journey of luck. It was a journey of me learning from the seniors, from respecting everyone who was in the field, take their advice and to mix it with whatever the creator has given me.
So, Quinn, how did your parents take it? Because Asian parents typically want their kids in some kind of numbers related field, finance or something where they feel like, oh, they'll be able to make a good living, find a good mate to have a long life with, have children, everything. How did your parents take it that you focused on a field that's really not a guarantee for being able to be self-sustaining?
Well, first of all, I was terrible at math. If you have ever seen my result from school, you would just be like, wow, I have like a straight A plus when it comes to literatures, English, languages. When it comes to science, biology, and like math, it's just like woof. My professor and teacher were like, what are you gonna do? But it looks like an insane shit. It's just like not even a midway meeting each other. So I'm like, I actually don't know. So when they first asked me, what are you gonna do about your future? I was like, well, I don't know. And of course, they wasn't very pleased. But then, um, I guess what really changed their perspective is that when I started to have the big names of the printing industry in like my portfolio and job description, like with a very good name, it could guarantee us, sponsorship and then a future, like a promise. They might not know what are you doing about them, but when let's just say I'm a writer in residence at VinUniversity now, and a lot of people still don't know what exactly is a writer in residence. It's a very new concept in Vietnam. But when they heard like VinUniversity, then it must be something. It gotta be good. They gotta know what they are doing. They would take the kid in, they would lead the kid, things like that. So it was the very same for me. Before they were like, I don't get the whole writing on the internet. Even though there's trafficking and then it could click or like affiliate, stuff like that, but it's still very freelancing. And then you don't have a direct or very clear purpose. But when you have newspaper, magazines, and then like actual name on the field, what they have been established, long time established, and then yes, they were like, oh, okay, then they could lead to something. So I think what I try to say is that always to have a clear sense of purpose is very important. Like I know I want to write, but then like I have studied a lot of different book types, and then like the company itself, I was like, this is what they are looking for. This is what it looks like to be a professional writer that people are actually hiring. There's passion, but there's also techniques, and then like the way to do it. So I prepared my resume and then like my portfolio, my work, and I was like, I want to learn and I want to work here. And then they take me in as an intern, and it just keep moving up.
So, Quinn, when you first started writing before the magazines hired you, how did you, what did you focus on for your content? Why did you focus on it? And how did you build audience up big enough that people actually wanted you to write for mainstream publications?
Um, we have to go back a little bit in time. I first moved to South Korea in 2009. And back in that time, there wasn't a lot of people, especially Vietnamese, studying abroad in Korea. It was a very new subject. People were like, why Korea? Back in the day, it was supposed to be the States, UK, Canada, Australia. It was like the hot market for studying abroad. But then like I moved to South Korea, and then people were like, okay, we have zero information. And that's when I realized I am the only one here who can actually be like writing and then like uploading, taking, because they're like it's a whole set of skill. In order to work online, you have to know at least taking picture, editing it, video taping, podcasting, vlogging back in the days, and then like writing. So I was like, I am in swimming information right now. I would write about what I have seen, the cultural differences, the languages, how do you say this, how do you say that, what do people expect from each other. The Korean culture itself is very rich, and it had a lot of similarities with Vietnamese culture. So I was like, there it is. So I started writing about it, whatever I've seen, whatever I've learned from anyone. I start talking to them, I start journaling it, and then I brainstorming and make like 100,000 follow on the Facebook in just a couple of months. People really cares, I know. And that's when the magazine started contacting me. They were like, you have something. It's not just about the gift of writing, it's the gift of observing and information. It's about making a system out of it. And I was like, okay. So that's why when my first nickname in writing was QinS-eoul, because I was in Seoul. Because if you work in business, you know, marketing and strategy and branding is very important. So when they read the title, they were like, okay, they have something very exclusive, but also very broad. So why don't we work together? It was like that.
How long did it take you to get to 100,000 followers? A couple of months? Is that what you said?
It's about half a year. Yeah.
About 6 months. So, but 100,000 people have no idea how much 100,000 is. I mean, if you think about 100,000 people standing outside your building and all of them know who you are and want to hear what you have to say. And what was your beginning content? What did you focus on?
As I've mentioned, I had cared deeply for cultural differences, the values, beliefs, norms, and how do people think of each other as an insider or as an outsider, and languages. I'm a writer, so I just love the use of language. So I started introducing people to the Korean culture, how it is similar to our culture, the Vietnamese one, and then like how people see life, mostly their belief system, and then like norms, even food. Food, I mean, so everything that I've seen or I get a touch of understanding, I would try and introduce to people, and they were like, this is new. For like about 20 years when Korean culture first come to Vietnam, it was always about K-pop, K-drama, the Korean one. So it was
Yeah, I
more
love
about
them.
entertaining than like the in-depth of like, what do they values? What do they seek in people? How do they live by things like that? So I wrote about it.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, and to get 100,000 people in 6 months, because there are many people who are writing columns and nobody really cares what they have to say. But the fact that you actually write something that people care about it is truly remarkable. So let's talk about how you got into being an author and a best-selling author at that. And you've written, am I correct, 5 books?
Uh, Wow, I have published 6 books already. I have about one, two, I have 4 right here with me. I don't know where the other 2 went. And then like soon I will be publishing my 7th one.
And congratulations on that.
Thank
So
you.
how did you decide tell us about the first book and how you decided what the content should be for that, and how did you figure out who would be a target market for this that would care enough to want to buy your book?
Oh, that's the thing. We have to go back to the first conversation we've had is that I I always have respect and then I believe in the seniors of the field. So when I started working for the magazines and the newspaper, that's when they taught me how to see the market as publisher, as a writer. Because if I just go out there and start really pursuing my passions and then I just carry on writing, I wouldn't have known what actually the market is looking for. That's the importance of a team because you will be having different people looking into the market and they will see, they will study, they will look at data, they will evaluate it, they will do everything, and they will have an exact answer. It's not just gut. Some people will tell you that it's gut, that you just trust your gut and go. But I believe writing or any other profession is a job. So it goes any other criteria. You would need a good team, you would need like good mentor, you would need people who study the market. So back in time, as I was saying, the Korean wave was hitting Vietnam as in terms of culture and entertaining. So my publisher would just look at it and they was like, there's a demand right now. Supply and demand always come, right? So that's like
Yeah, of
we have
course.
information, we have a team, and it's always work like that. The tide is rising. We have to ride with it. It's just like I was like, you have this, so it's opportunity. You have to seize it. And once it hit the market, you will start to see everything else. Okay, we have done like a, let's say, traveling abroad. Then now it's like a studying abroad or like a life abroad. It's like a branches. You know when it's like making a plan. You had like little things here and there, like fulfilling a big picture. So it's very important to have a strategy, a theme, a clear message, and it's the consistency. That's what I would say. As a writer, you have to focus, stay in line, know what you're doing, know your audience, know everything. Of course, you could challenge yourself. Always, it's just a task. It's the thing you must do as a creative writer. But to know and to have a very clear mind of what you're doing, and then again, the importance of having a good team.
Yeah, for sure. So what was the first book that you wrote, and what was it? What was the first book you wrote, and what was it about, and who was it targeted toward? What was the demographic?
Right. So let's just say I have a number of followers reach to 100,000. And then based on that, I would have the information about the age, the gender, the location of where they are living already, right? So it's already give me a picture of like who is actually reading my content. And then like based off that, I was doing columns on pop chart magazines, which is like they were specially in students and then university students. So I already know who is actually reading and showing me support. And then my field was Korea. And then back in that time, as I told you, people started to care about studying abroad in Korea. So I put all of that together. And it was like, even with my publisher, they were like, this is the time when you publish a book about studying abroad in Korea as a Vietnamese. And they're like, with the demand right there, with the people who have been supporting you with this information, it's gonna catch. So
And
we
so
work for
what?
like, yeah, it catch.
And so you wrote this book. You let your 100,000 followers know that this book has come out, and so and then that had a viral effect because they let other people know about this book, and that helped you become was the first book a best-selling book?
Yeah.
And I'm assuming all of your books, because you have such a strong following, each one of them met the criteria for being a bestseller here in Vietnam.
Oh, but that's the thing though. I published like that's a very good question because I published 6 books and then about 2 or 3 of them made the bestseller list and a few others no one have heard about it. So that's when I started to learn that even though you know the method, you know the right people, you thought you knew the market, nothing is certain. It teach me a great lesson on, all right, when you thought you know the skill, you know the way, and you know everyone in the market and the field, people who could help you. Well, what do they say? Good friends and strong allies, right? That's what I thought.
Yeah.
After, yeah, exactly. So I was like, I know everything, and then like I've done this like so many times. It's supposed to work. So that's when I realized it's very the same with business and working. You could know everything. You could have the world, the way, the system, but still you don't control the market. It's very hard to realize it. No, and then that's what I realized as a writer, a creative writer myself. I can't always rely on just tools and then like as a techniques or like on the old road. People have loved me when I first come out because if I was new, I was brand, I was something. But then like they grow tired of it, and the reader would always want more from us. They want to see revolution, changes, growth. And after just carry on writing what you have always been good, people will be like, you have gone lazy. So
And it's exhausting. I mean, and you're right, because it's you have created a product and a brand, and if that brand if that product is not constantly evolving, and it becomes in the buyer's mind stale, then they move on from your product to somebody else's product, which is a learned lesson for all entrepreneurs, right?
yeah, it's very similar. It was like my product is good, my line of work is good, I have a good image, I can just go. And then people are like, no, you have gotten tired and lazy, and we can see it. And there's countless of good other creators on the field, writing videos, pictures, Instagram. It's a competitions out there. So when they realize that you have lost the same enthusiasm, they will show. So I was like, that's a very good lesson. I have to always grow.
Yeah, I think it can be exhausting, especially the kind of books that you write are similar to what I've written in the sense of that I'm writing, in my case, how-to books, and every topic is different. Unlike if I'm writing a Sherlock Holmes series where people buy into the character, now they can't wait for the character to come back again, and you have this built-in audience that's following Jack Reacher or Sherlock Holmes or whoever the character is. That kind of builds up an audience, and the audience keeps growing because they can't wait for the next storyline to come out. But when you've got to keep, when you're selling an entire new storyline each time that you're going out there, and you have to engage your audience, and the audience has to trust you enough that what they're going to read is going to be new, fresh, and enlightening. That's the hardest thing you could possibly do. I mean, that's really, really difficult stuff. How do you
It
go?
is.
How do you handle the ups and downs of your profession? You know, what's your mental mindset in terms of the day to day?
No, I'm not gonna lie to you, Mark. I have hit the writer's block for about 3 years. This is the year I actually, no, 2024 is a year I actually made a comeback, like a full comeback. But in 3 years, I couldn't write. I couldn't even function like a proper storyline, an argument, a point. And then like, I was a best-selling author, so that just very. It was a very dark and down place for me. It's like waking up and I was like, that's it. I've lost my gift. I'm just, I don't even know who I am anymore for a long time. So I'm gonna lie, it's not an easy road pursuing arts and writings and any other fields. So yeah, let's just get that. I don't deal with it well, but then like I also realize that the whole point of losing our gift in a certain time is about we have stopped listening for what is inside of us. We follow the techniques and then we thought we know the market, and then like the obsessions with everything has to be on the top best selling points again. I realized that I'm very happy and grateful that I have gained some fame, and then I success from a very young age, but that have created very big shadows on me. First of all, I was young, so I was arrogant. I was like, oh, okay, it's not that hard. And
Right,
then
of
like,
course.
yeah, and then I was arrogant. I didn't know any better. So when I didn't come near that again, I was like, oh my God, why, what happened? So it didn't just happen through, I would say, it was a process of about 10 years when I have to actually learn and grow as a person too. I had faced ups and downs. I was very proud of myself, but then I also realized that, oh my God, no, this is not what I expect to be. So I guess, but then if you ask how do I cope with it and how do I get out of it, then I would say what makes me really happy is the consistency of keep doing it. I keep a journal and I write journal every day. So I stay truthful to my feelings. I'm aware of how am I feeling, what I want to do, even when I'm not good at it. So I had to constantly remind myself that I didn't write to become a best-selling author. I write because that's my voice, it's my flow, and I want to give it to the world. And even if I don't write, how would I feel? Or like my voice wouldn't be heard at all. So it wasn't about trying to get on the best-selling point. It's about spreading a very good message, and then like stay. What I would say is stay very close to your product. In my term is book. Stay very close to it. Get involved. Be deeply connected with it. Not just write and then back up. You have to work with the designer, the artist, the publisher. Check it a few thousand times if it needed to be. Because when you are that close with your product, your child, you will feel like this is the best I could have put in already. This is my responsible. So whatever comes with it, it's the same with your kids. Like I have raised you, I have worked with you. So whatever happened when it comes out there, I've done my best. I wouldn't regret, I wouldn't ask myself, I wouldn't be like, I could have done it better. So no. So yes, my two things is stay very close with your inner child, the flow, the wisdom and the passion. And the second thing is get involved. Get very involved with your writing, your product, do it, give it your best. So whatever happens, no regret.
I have to say that when I first met you, I felt that you were one of the most, one of the few people I ever met who was so comfortable in your own skin that you seemed, had a quiet confidence, but just comfortable being you. And as I hear, this was a process too, being comfortable with who you are. And I agree with you that you, you were writing so much that in a sense you kind of burned out for a while. And then I had the same thing. I wrote 5 books in 5 years. And then I told my publisher I didn't have another book in me.
Yeah.
And then for me, it was even worse. So I wrote a sixth book like 3 years, 4 years later. But then I got out of the rotation for writing books. So my publisher stopped coming to me to write books. Like they like to know that they can count on you every year to pump out another book. And one of my books was named one of the 30 best business books in 2000. And I thought, well, this is going to be easy, like you said. And I was in my
Right.
early, I was then in my just early 40s, like I was just 40 at that point. And I thought, that was my second book that won that award. And I had written another book that had won an award, but I just thought, I'm just going to write a new book every year for the rest of my life, not realizing how much it takes out of you. And especially if you're knocking them out in 9 months, which I was knocking out a new book every 9 months. So it's very, very, very difficult to do. But it sounds to me that you mastered how to reduce the stress on yourself because of your own success, you keep trying to top it, and now there's more and more pressure on you, which we see with the kids at smart schools like VinUniversity, where they were the top of their class, and they have high expectations of themselves. The parents have expectations. Everybody around them has high expectations of themselves, of them. And now you have to figure out, how do I just have an expectation that I will just do my best every day, and that's all I can do, and that's all I can control, right?
It's really hard to make peace with yourself. It's actually that
Yeah.
hard because I feel like every time you have reached a new level in life, even your tolerance level rise with it. So whatever you are dealing with, it's actually very stressful. It's very hard. But then like you have done this for so long, it's become resilient, I would say. So actually, when other people looking at it, you'll be like, I don't know how you do it. So whatever you are doing, actually really hard. It's more than what your body, your mind can take. But then you have trained for such a long time
And
and you thought it's easy. And then like it's actually not. It caused a lot of trouble on the mind and everywhere else.
the other thing is that people always talk about writing books. I know you probably have, like I do, lots of friends who talk about, I'm going to write this book, and they never write it. And you tell them, it's not that, in one way, it's not that hard. Just start putting, start typing. That's it. Like, don't overthink it. Just start doing it. And I tell them, put together an outline, just follow the outline and get the first draft done. And then you can go back. But if you keep trying to make everything perfect, you're never going to get it done.
Yeah, it's like it's actually not that easy. People have ideas. That's what I thought this morning with myself in the mirror. I was like, ideas, you have ideas every day. People have stormed with ideas, but like from that idea to actual work to a
Yes.
product, come on. It's like, come on.
Yeah. And
It's not easy.
yeah, the work isn't easy, but it's easy to talk yourself out of it, or delay it. Just do it tomorrow. And so I've done over 30 startups, and I'm continuing to launch new things all the time. And people say, how do you do that all the time? And I said, I just do it. Like, I don't try to think too deeply. I don't think about, if it will go well or won't go well. I just know that I want to go and try this. And I just know that the only thing I have control over is my effort. That literally is the only thing in life we have control over. We don't have control over if people are going to read it or not. We just
No,
have control over our efforts. And if you look at it that
exactly.
way, you realize that it really reduces the stress a lot, and you just give your best. I mean, who knows why not Britney Spears, Taylor Swift has so many number one hits. I mean, it's just insane how many number one hits. Why her, of all the singers in the world, do people like her music? And there'll be a time that people just tune out, like only the super core listeners care about her music, but they'll go on to the next hot thing or whatever. They'll just get tired of her messaging, right? I mean, that's what happened.
Yeah, it's about, well, I love Taylor. I have a playlist on my TV every day. It's
Yeah.
soothing, it's empowering. And what I like the most about her, and anyone who is just keep trying, and especially in art, and it's about choosing to act. Action is empowering. You can talk, you can have ideas, you can have even some brainstorm. But when you actually choose to act, it's about the same thing you said, controlling your effort. Make yourself some deadline. No one is asking you to, but you ask it of yourself and you follow it. It's just absolute power. It's absolute control. It's about, I've said it, I want to do it. I choose to act. Just that three sentence alone change everything. And I think the same for Taylor. She would do everything every year. Consistency, absolute power.
And discipline, right? How much, what's your day look like? Like, what time do you typically wake up in the morning? What's your typical day look like?
I would usually wake up about 5 a.m. and then like I would write for about a total of 5 hours per day. And then the other time I would meet up with my team, meet up my senior, my author manager, and then I never skip a day without either working out or reading a book. Because I believe that reading a book or studying anything, because I believe the mind and the body also need to be trained. You need a healthy body to function, to challenge yourself, to go hiking, to jump off a cliff, to go swimming, whatever. And then the mind. I can't be arrogant or like I know it all. I'm in my field. I'm in my zone with my characters. I don't need to know what is going on with the world. I do not believe that. So yes, I would wake up at 5 every day, and then I would always every day write about 5 hours for my columns, for my blog, or like ideas of the book, editing it, and then do a podcast with you or other work socializing that helps with my career, and then study, both in terms of training my body, any skill I could have, or driving, scuba diving, whatever I would put on my list. And then I would read in any languages I could read, Korean, English, Vietnamese, to train my understanding of the world in any books I could get my hands on, business book, um, poems, novels, self-help, psychology, sociology, everything. So I feed my brain and my body every day too. That's just very, very important to me. I never skip it.
I'm the same. I get up at 5:30. In my case, I read for 45 minutes. I ride my bike 7 days a week, lift weights every other day, and that's how my day goes every day. And my girlfriend's always surprised, and she's just so disciplined and regimented. But I feel that that's part of how I can control my life. The parts I can control, those are the things
Exactly.
that I can go and do. And then I'm typically working till between 12 and 1 a.m. And my body only requires 5.5 hours sleep because I'm in super deep sleeper. Like my girlfriend said, a train can come through our apartment and I wouldn't hear it, which is why I don't need 7, 8 hours sleep because I'm such a deep
Same,
sleep. Yeah.
same. I have my
So
RAM every day too. So it's about 5 to 6 hours. If in the weekend I could catch up some of my sleep debt. But yes, I function about 6 hours of sleep per day. Because I have good sleep. I've done everything I need to do in a day. And whatever I need to do on tomorrow is on the schedule. So what's there to stress about?
So, how is AI playing a role with writers today? Do you use AI at all in your writing process?
Oh, I actually don't let AI to interfere with my, let's say, my writing voice. But oh, I would say it's very good for two things. One is providing information to research. Normally, it would take days and hours
I
to
agree.
evaluate. Oh, it's just like you would be like, I need something somewhere, and you'll be like, now what do I do about it? I have to research for it, verification, and sources and everything. But like, I would love that with the help of AI, you get a very good glimpse of anyone or any place in a very, still, you need to do the double research method, but still, it's a very good at providing you a whole picture in a very short amount of time, which saves a lot of work and time. That's one thing. And the second thing is that translation. Oh, it's so important because there's a lot of documents or like work you have to find in another language. It's not your mother tongue, which is hard to read. But with the help of AI, oh, thank God, you'd be like, this is it. Oh, okay, that I'm seeing what is going on. And you don't get to always need a professional translator with you. Of course, they cost money for their important work. So I do not let AI to write for me because I feel like I'm gonna get lazy and I don't want it. Even though a lot of my other friends who is in the field, they do have AI help with their writing and they just edit it. There's a theory going on saying that for the next decade, all of the writers won't be drafters anymore. They will become editor. So you have AI to, you know, pour out something for you and you edit it back into your own voice. And I was like, there's a possibility. I wouldn't say no to it. But then, like, so far, I still want to keep a bit of the traditional vintage way, which is like I will do my own writing. But yes, I trust AI on the whole collecting informations and translation. So far, it's been so good, been great.
I agree with you totally about that. How do you keep work-life balance?
Um, it's very important. I tell myself every day, the investment you put into your career should be the equivalent, the same amount of investment, both in time, in finance, in effort, with the same with your life, as in friends, family, girlfriends, boyfriends. It should be the same. I would never allow myself to just look in the mirror and be like, I have more important stuff to do today. I have to get on my best-selling seller. I have to everything. And I won't look at my parents, or I won't see my kids or my friends. So I have to make a schedule every day, like every week, I would say. Like I'm gonna see Mark on Monday for 1 hour. So on the
Yeah.
weekend, I'm gonna be with my parents for like 1 hour. And then if I will go to VinUniversity on Wednesday for my writing in residence program. Then I will have like just another equivalent time to be with someone ever. So, and then like discipline, you said, right? So I am, I value everything. I want my career, but I also want a very good life and a good home with the people I love. So the amount of investment should be the same, 50-50. I don't believe in the 70 and 30 here and there, and you want it to work. It wouldn't work. People will look at you and be like, you are here, but you are not here. So I make a schedule, even in terms of spending time between work and life. Balance. It said like work-life balance. So it gotta be balanced. So yes, I set a schedule to make my, I don't know, make my own cake.
So are you writing a book now?
Um, well, as I've said, I'm publishing the seventh one soon. I have already had the draft of the eighth one in
What's
my.
the seventh one about?
Ooh, the seventh one is about uh, destiny and love and belief. It's a book of, it's a collection of a lot of conversations I've had with in my life. So I said I keep a journal, right? So every time I had something beautiful, I wrote it down in my journal. I didn't share it to anyone. I thought it's like, well, it's my thing, it's my treasure too. I gotta keep it for myself. But then at a point, I was like, sometimes a truthful, heartwarming story is even more powerful than a slogan or like an encouragement. You could hear a story from someone you don't even know, and you'll be like, that explains so much. But clear the answer I have in my head for so long. It's soothing, it gives me hopes. So yes, I finally decided to share all the conversations, the best conversations that I've had in my life. So people can look at it and they will be like, well, life is not that bad. Like it's really about talking to each other like this. Because I feel like we have been lacking in true communication for such a long time. People would write to each other, they would just send a sticker, press some like, and call it a day. But then to actually sit down and talk like this, share about ambitions, dreams, life, knowledge, what you are liking, what I'm fighting about, things like that, true conversation. So yes, this book is about encouraging people to talk and open up to each other as human, not like any other thing you try to put on yourself and call it you.
Yeah, I think that's great. So my last question to you is, tell us about what you're going to be doing at VinUniversity as a writer in residence. What are you going to be doing?
Oh, I am so very excited to start. I'm gonna start in 2 days, which is like Wednesday, right? Um, I'm helping the Vin University librarian to finish the Vin Uni Legacy book. It's a book right about the history of school, but it actually written by the students. It's a students project, so I am so very excited. I'm gonna help them on that. And then I am looking forward to have workshop and mentorship in writing because I've heard that Bean University is really promoting a culture in creativity, and especially in reading culture and writing culture. So I am so very excited to start because I have never been a writer in residence anywhere in the world before. And it's very new here too. So I'm eager for the journey. I would like to learn from other college, the other professor, and even from the students. I feel like they have so much to offer. Every day is a learning opportunity for me. So in order to work there and to meet with anyone, everyone, it's like it's a learning opportunity. So I actually don't hope to mentor or to teach. I actually hope to learn. That's my
I think they're going to learn a lot from you. Quinn, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today.
thank you,
I
Mark.
think you're a true entrepreneur in the literary world, and I'm looking forward to seeing your seventh book and hearing more about your eighth book. And as
Thank
somebody who
you.
works here at VinUniversity, I'm not going to be here for your first day here because I'm going to be away. But when I come back, I definitely want to host you for lunch and get to
Thank
know
you.
you better.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark. It's a beautiful, beautiful way to start a week. It's a beautiful Monday.
Absolutely.
Thank you.